It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Up here Tuesday, and we've got another top show in the offing for you here on ZiFM Sport on your favorite station, ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. On the home front, Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation Minister Coventry says that they have given ZIFA a proposal for football to return with the bio-bubble concept to ensure all the clubs participating in the proposed competition are operating in a safe environment. This evening, we asked the following questions. What exactly is this concept? Whose idea is it? Who's leading? The league, the association, or government? Is it even feasible? And to help with the answers to those pertinent questions, we have a stellar cast here on ZiFM Sport. Barry Manandi, Chris Midzi, Alois Bunjira. My name is Mike Madora and our producer is Sean Tafirenyika. We also have international sports news for you to look forward to. And today being a Tuesday, we have our staple, the Formula One report, proudly brought to you by Zimoco, where Formula One bosses will not investigate Lewis Hamilton's decision to wear a T-shirt highlighting police brutality at Sunday's Tuscan Grand Prix.
In around the world in 60, we start in New Zealand. The Bledisloe Cup Series between New Zealand and Australia will kick off in Wellington on the 11th of October, with the second match in Auckland a week later. In Italy, Japan's Kei Nishikori got his first win in the year at the Italian Open, with former Rome semi-finalists Grigor Dimitrov and Marin Cilic also easing into the second round of the clay court tournament. And in India, South African veteran AB de Villiers said captain Virat Kohli is leading from the front as Royal Challengers Bangalore look to shed their wooden spooners tag in the Indian Premier League.
Don't forget, in the middle of the show is the play of the day before we get into the beautiful game kicking off in the Premier League, where Frank Lampard says he's very happy with Kepa Arrizabalaga, but football pundit Gary Neville criticized his performance and says Chelsea will not win a league title with the Spaniard. In Ligue 1, Neymar has accused referees of ignoring his reports of racist abuse in an impassioned defense following his sending off in PSG's 1-0 defeat by Marseille on Sunday. In news from La Liga, Barcelona forward Lionel Messi has topped Forbes' list for highest earning footballers in 2020. And in Serie A, Juventus have given up on their pursuit of Barcelona outcast Luis Suarez.
Time for our power play. It's Top Hit Tuesday. We'll be talking about the men from Stamford Bridge in the beautiful game. So fittingly, the song is called Bridges. It's called by Mickey Gayton.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
We love it when you reach out to us with your thoughts, your views, and your analysis. The main platform for that is on Twitter. Follow and interact with @ZFM Sport. Now, on yesterday's edition of ZFM Sport, we discussed some of the thoughts coming out of Ahmad, who is, of course, the CAF president, and he is warning to ZIFA that should our facilities not up to scratch, CAF would not hesitate to actually make Zimbabwe play its home games on neutral ground. And then we did intimate that there was a big press conference that was held yesterday afternoon, held by the Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation Minister Coventry. And today we'll be discussing a development out of yesterday's discussion, which is the possible return of football in Zimbabwe in our local top flight league. Now, the news is that the Honourable Minister Coventry says that they have given ZIFA a proposal for football to return with a bio-bubble concept to ensure that all clubs camp in a safe environment. Football, which is the most popular sport in the country, has been on hold for the past 6 months owing to the coronavirus lockdown measures, which resulted in the indefinite postponement of the 2020 Premier League season. The game has been classified under high-risk sport because of its high-contact nature. Let's hear more from the Minister, Coventry.
We've come up with some ideas and proposals that we have now shared with ZIFA and the PSL and the Women's League to see how viable it will be in terms of the resumption of some of our soccer. It is based off the bubble concept, and hopefully by the end of the week or next week we would be able to have another announcement with some very exciting news.
Now, the return of football has been something that's been very topical here on ZiFM Sport over the last few weeks. If you remember, we gave a report on how ZIFA was supposed to have made an application last week for exemption in anticipation of the imminent return of international football, with the Warriors set to resume their 2021 AFCON qualifiers in November. At yesterday's press conference, the Sports Minister, Coventry, saying that her ministry and the Sports and Recreation Commission, the SRC, have given proposals for local football authorities that they have to follow for football to resume. This is a very interesting one, isn't it, Barry? Because it looks like it's the ministry and the SRC that are leading the way. Should it be the other way around, that ZIFA and the local league, the Casablanca Premier Soccer League, should be the ones doing the proposing?
Yeah, and just the structure of the whole press conference yesterday was a little bit confusing as well, because you would have thought that the press conference was called to respond to the application that was placed by ZIFA. And then the ministry could then say, from there, we have proposed the following tweaks to the proposal that was sent to us by ZIFA, and they have to fulfill these following obligations, and then we'll consider the return of football. But instead, it was more the ministry and SRC, in fact, government, let's just say government, that seems to be driving the driving force behind this. I'm not sure if that's 100%, and it has led us to where we are now, because now we have to wait for ZIFA to respond to that proposal, and we have to wait another week.
Now, Chris, the Honourable Minister talking about a bio-bubble concept, and it's something that we have seen mainly in the major leagues in Europe, the likes of the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the Champions League, the Bundesliga were able to carry out successfully. And then closer to home in South Africa, they created a bio-bubble in Gauteng, chose about 8 venues and managed to complete their league program. How feasible is this in Zimbabwe?
I'm very concerned about what they're terming a bio-bubble, and I'm very concerned because I don't think we have the facilities for, even if they talk about having a mini league instead of an actual league. And even with a mini league concept, I'm curious as to where this bio bubble would be placed. If we're talking about having it in Harare, first of all, Harare is the COVID epicenter for Zim at the moment. So if we're going to be having it in Harare, exactly where is it going to be? Which hotels are going to be used? Who will be footing the bill for this? Because if we're having a bio bubble, that means that players are restricted to hotels. These hotels themselves, they employ.
I think when you say hotels, you may be a bit ambitious there, Chris.
But that's the only way it'll work, Mike. That's the only way it'll work.
I think we need to start looking at maybe some of the tertiary institutions, the University of Zimbabwe, Belvedere Technical Teachers College. I think those are some of the facilities you should be looking at, Chris. I don't think they're going to be chucked up at the Mikos Hotel.
That's exactly the issue, Mike. We simply don't have good enough facilities. These are PSL players. This is the highest league in the country. And for me at least, you'd want those players to be living in a certain environment if it's going to be for an ongoing period. So for me, I'm a little bit worried. We wait to see exactly what kind of bio bubble is being talked about. Like you said, they could just be using the tertiary institutions. But for me, when you create a bio bubble, you have certain things. A simple example, the people who clean and cook and who are supposed to be taking care of these players cannot leave this bubble. That's the full concept of a bubble. So I'm curious as to how they're going to be conducting it, and we have to wait and see, but I'm very concerned.
And now, Alois, we are talking about the return of football. We're talking about the concept around the competition, the proposed competition. We haven't even started training. Does it concern you that we are talking about matches and competition when we haven't even made a plan for our clubs to return to training, which is the basis on which they can compete?
Yeah, Mike, it's very surprising and it's very disappointing when you look at the whole issue, the way this thing is being planned or not planned anyway. I don't think there's a plan at all. At the moment, it's just haphazard, everything is going haywire. But come back to your question, is the players first? They need to come back to training first. Where's the blueprint for the clubs to actually say so every club has to come up with their own plan. If there's not going to be a bubble, at least every club should come with a plan and say we want to come back to training. But the silence from the clubs is so deafening. No club is ready. No club is prepared to come back and play because we see these boys all over the place. They are around. They are our friends. No one has made a plan for the boys to come back to training yet. But we're already talking about playing. What about training? So there is no plan from the clubs. That's number one. So for me, I think the whole issue, I don't know how it's being handled, but every stakeholder in this whole thing should come together. The players, the clubs, the ZIFA, PSL, and the ministry come back together and actually plan on how we're going to go from A to Z. Not this, we're talking about a G, a H, a W, then come back to B. I don't know what is happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now, a lot more questions than answers around the return of football. And Barry, just as we wrap up, the one thing that we saw and we read about and we watched on the news when it came to the return of action in Europe, and in truth, we refer to them because they're the standard bearers and they're the ones that are leading the way in terms of professionalism in football, in terms of how they conduct themselves in their leagues. There was a lot of consultation. We read and we saw meetings that were held regularly, once every week. If we use the Premier League, for example, as an example, that there were consultative meetings with the clubs. Now, the minister repeatedly talked about, we've got our technocrats working on this, we got our technocrats thinking on that, our technocrats working on that. Do you feel like there's been enough consultation with the clubs who are, first of all, the owners of the players who are going to be involved?
I don't think so. I think that there's been very little consultation. I know the ZIFA president said that they'll be consulting their affiliates. Let's see how that goes. But they've only got now 6 days to consult those affiliates.
Shouldn't that have been done first, though,
I think
Barry?
there's a big consideration
That's the
of
first
the Premier
thing
League.
to do.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
that
that have been done first?
It was missed, and it was missed, Mike. And chances are it's going to be missed again. I don't think there's going to be any consultation. I think it's going to be very prescriptive, and there's no consultation happening, which is why we are where we are.
Like Barry is saying, no consultation, or there seems to have been very little consultation. And the other thing that will be of concern to the Zimbabwe football family is that this is just merely concentrating on the very top of our football pyramid in terms of our top flight league. But football in Zimbabwe is more than the Councilor Premier Soccer League. There is Division 1, all four of them, in the north, in the south, in the east, and in the central division. Then there are, of course, another layer and several layers below that. What plans are being made for them to return to football? Those are some of the questions that need answering as we talk about the anticipated return of football in Zimbabwe.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Let's give you a quick local sports news roundup, starting with golf. Zimbabwe professional golfer Scott Vincent finished at 3 under par and tied in 8th place at the Portugal Masters at the weekend. The tournament was played at the Dom Pedro Victoria Golf Course, Viamura. From Thursday until Sunday. Vincent is in his maiden season on the European Tour after he joined from the Asian Tour at the beginning of this year. In athletics news, the National Athletics Association of Zimbabwe will make a final decision on the staging of the provincial championships on Friday. Now, the tournament, set for White City Stadium on the 26th of September, remains in doubt largely due to the fact that the government is yet to lift the intercity travel ban. NAAZ President Ndai Tagara said the association will map the way forward at their full executive executive meeting which takes place this Friday. Wrap it up with Warriors update, where Warriors coach Zdravko Logarosic now says he is not surprised by Zimbabwean striker Prince Due's blistering start to life in the Tanzanian Premier League with Azam FC. The former Highlanders forward scored twice in the second half against Coastal Union on Friday evening at Azam Complex Stadium in Dar es Salaam to guide his club to a second straight victory in as many matches. This followed his impressive debut last week, in which he provided an assist that saw Azam win 1-0 against Tanzanian Police in their opening fixture, courtesy of an Aubrey Chirwa, remember him, solitary strike.
Hi, this is Mike Madoda, and you can catch me and the team for all the latest breaking news out of the world of sport, local as well as international, on your favorite station, my station, your station, ZiFM. We are Z-Team on ZiFM Sport.
Z International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play. From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil, get up to speed on the Formula One Report. The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoco, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
It's always good news every time on the Zimoco Formula One Report, because we tell you about the specials and the wonderful vehicles that we offer at Zimoco. Now, this week we're talking about the all-new Mercedes-Benz GLS, completely redesigned with all kinds of strength. The new GLS proudly bears the S in its name. It combines the authority of an SUV with the inner values of an S-Class. Climb aboard and experience sheer size thanks to tangible comfort and exemplary safety. The completely redesigned exterior of the GLS underscores the power and presence of the vehicle. The optional panoramic sliding sunroof gives you a fascinating sense of freedom and bathes the interior in a pleasantly bright ambiance. The AMG line impresses on the exterior with sporty details such as large air inlets, and on the interior with a multifunctional sports steering wheel and sports pedal system.
I love the way you use the words climb aboard, Michael. And when you do climb aboard, the spacious interior of the all-new GLS is an invitation.
Climb aboard and enjoy the ride.
Indeed. And when you do, that spacious interior is an invitation for up to 7 passengers. They'll enjoy the highest level of comfort right across the interior, and digital infotainment even features in the second row of seats. With just one touch of a button, the backrests of the second row and third row of seats fold down individually or together, making up to 2,400 liters of loading space available. Voice amplification is available for the new GLS that your passengers in the third row of seats can hear your conversation even if you are in the front row. It's like having a PA system in your car.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, if you thought we were done, not just yet. The all-new GLS also features the all-new MBUX infotainment technology. This new technology enables you to be able to talk to your GLS and ask it to perform various commands without even having to lift a finger off the steering wheel. The rear seats also feature an optional MBUX tablet in a 7-inch color display, allowing you to comfortably operate all functions of the multimedia system from there. Now, a lot of you guys will remember the famous social media video in iPads. Go back, in iPad. This is exactly. This is what Jinibi was talking about. Yeah, in an iPad. So is that MBUX tablet, which is of course has got that 7-inch color display that allows you to comfortably operate all functions of the multimedia system from the rear. The room in the new GLS means a whole lot more than just plenty of space. Its exceptional comfort and safety ensures priceless moments for you and all those important to you. Like we said, climb aboard and enjoy the ride.
Z.
All right, let's talk you through the upshot of an incident-filled Tuscan Grand Prix. Now, Formula One's bosses will not investigate Lewis Hamilton's decision to wear a T-shirt highlighting police brutality at Sunday's Tuscan Grand Prix. Governing body, the FIA, was considering whether the matter contravened its rules, but a spokesman told BBC Sport an investigation had been ruled out. The FIA will, however, seek to clarify its guidelines as to what is permitted for drivers pre-race and on the podium. Hamilton's T-shirt said, "Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor." Let's hear from Lewis Hamilton, who's spoken about his activism.
There's over 1,000 killings by the police in the States every year, and 99% of those every single year go without conviction. And I think being that we had that video that everyone could see in plain sight, I think just speaking on my personal experience, it brought up a lot of anger, a lot of pain from experiences as I had growing up, and I got to bring those up to, for example, my parents who were there with me through those difficult times. And I was like, I think for me, just feeling like I could not stay silent during this period of time, and I think many people around the world, and I got to go and visit go on the march in London, the Black Lives Matter protests, and it was really amazing to see people from different walks of life, all colours, supporting this. And it's really not this is not a battle, a fight against other races. This is asking for equality above the board.
This one would have been a hot potato, wouldn't it, Chris, if they had decided to investigate and then take action. It's in Zimbabwe we say peace.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a good decision by the bosses at Formula One. I think they understand the climate at the moment. Everything is incredibly sensitive. And to even start an investigation like this would cause a PR storm that they would not be able, I don't think, to ride out for a little while because of the current climate in terms of social justice issues. So I think this is a good decision by them. Kudos to them for understanding exactly what is going on in the world right now. And also I think there's a consciousness around exactly what he was representing and what it means.
If you're wondering who Breonna Taylor is, well, she was tragically a 26-year-old medical worker who was shot and killed by plainclothes police officers raiding her home in Louisville, Kentucky in March. We've seen a lot of sports begin to support the social justice movement. Naomi Osaka, we spoke about her yesterday. NBA, they've replaced their names. Their names are at the bottom of the jersey, at the back, and they've put various slogans, which were agreed with the NBA Commission. And that's so the social justice movement is gaining ground. So fair dues to the FIA and Formula One in letting Hamilton express himself. Now they want to set the guidelines, don't they, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. I was initially disappointed because they had intimated that they had problems with him wearing that T-shirt. So this is something of a climb down. But like Chris said, that it's an important climb down because the issue didn't escalate or it didn't fester for too long. They didn't start the investigative process, and it was important for Formula One to understand the difference between a political statement and a human rights statement. The fight for justice for Breonna Taylor is a human rights issue that transcends any politics or any political opinion. It's something that should be embraced by everyone, whatever race or creed. And that Lewis Hamilton and the likes of Naomi Osaka are choosing to champion her cause is something that every sports person or everyone with an audience and a platform should be doing. I would love to see, Barry, the loosening of the rules around expression in sport. I think the Olympics have already come out and say that next year, when they do hold the Olympics in Japan, they are going to be more relaxed about what athletes can protest or speak about at the Olympic Games, because they do realize that, you know what, those platforms which these athletes have worked so hard to be on are platforms that they can use to send a positive message. So for me, as long as the message is positive, I don't care if it's political. As long as it's positive and it's justified, I think it's important that even Formula One begin to be receptive of some of the things that they would not have appreciated or countenanced 10 years ago.
Couldn't have agreed even more. Well, there was a race at Mugello on Sunday, and Lewis Hamilton was the winner, extending his driver's standing at the top. Lewis Hamilton now on 190 points. In second, Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, on 135. Max Verstappen, who had a DNF in Mugello, is now on 110 points. Lando Norris of McLaren is on 65 points. He's in fourth. And then in fifth is Alex Albon. Charles Leclerc of Ferrari is in eighth on 49 points. And Sebastian Vettel, his teammate, is on 17 points in 13th position. The constructors standings, predictably, Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, Racing Point, and Renault. The next Grand Prix is next Sunday. It's a Russian Grand Prix.
Z.
Now, earlier on, we're telling you about all the trappings, all the luxury, all the comfort that comes with the all-new GLS. Now, for guys who really love their vehicles like Barry, I'm sure he's more interested in what's under the hood. So let's open it and have a look. It's available in a 450 petrol, which features a 3-litre inline 6-turbo engine with a 9G Tronic 9-speed automatic transmission generating 362 horsepower. Does that do it for you, Barry Menande?
Yeah, it does. Not quite, because you can get a bigger engine, but yeah,
right.
That's a good start. It's a good start.
Let's give you the bigger engine, Barry. There's a 580 petrol engine which features a 4-litre V8 bi-turbo with 9G Tronic automatic transmission generating 483 horsepower. Does this make the hair on your chest stand?
That's it. Yes, indeed, and even makes a few pop out.
Now, the all-new GLS is also available as a Mercedes Maybach GLS 600, which is the most powerful and luxurious SUV on the market. Ordering a Mercedes-Benz from Zimoco is a very special and personalized experience, and you need to do it soon.
Yeah, and this is why it's a special experience, because you can visit the Zimoco showroom in Borrowdale and you can create your dream Mercedes-Benz GLS. All Mercedes-Benz vehicles bought through Zimoco have a 2-year or 100,000 kilometer manufacturer's warranty and a first free service at 10,000 kilometers. Remember, you should always buy your vehicle through a registered general distributor in your country to avoid losing the warranty on your vehicle. And in this country, it is Zimoco. Visit Zimoco and find out more about this incredible vehicle. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoco, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
Hi, I'm JC Krill, Springbok and Blue Bulls backline player. You are listening to ZiFM Sports.
Only DSTV brings you the very best football action. Catch all the action from the most popular league in the world, the English Premier League, with some of the world's biggest stars in Sadio Mane, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero, and Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, they done it! I cannot believe it!
Catch all the action on the brand new SuperSport Premier League channel on channel 223.
Oh, wow!
We have the world's best football, only on DSTV.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
Around the World in 60 is brought to you by DSTV. We start in New Zealand. The Bledisloe Cup series between New Zealand and Australia will kick off in Wellington on the 11th of October with the second match in Auckland a week later. The announcement from New Zealand Rugby comes after the country's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern telephoned Australian counterpart Scott Morrison to allay fears over quarantine restrictions. We'll head over to Italy, where Japan's Kei Nishikori got his first win in a year at the Italian Open, with former Rome semi-finalists Grigor Dimitrov and Marin Cilic also easing into the second round of the clay court tournament. Nishikori needed 6 match points to get past Spain's Albert Ramos Vinola 6-4, 7-6 in 2 hours behind closed doors at the Foro Italico for his first win since reaching the 2019 US Open third round. We'll touch down in India, where South African veteran Navy, de Villiers says Captain Virat Kohli is leading from the front as Royal Challengers Bangalore look to shed their wooden spooners tag in the Indian Premier League. De Villiers said Indian skipper Kohli was inspiring much hard work in the build-up to the IPL start in the United Arab Emirates on Saturday. Bangalore, who finished last of the 8 teams in 2 of the past 3 seasons, begin their campaign against Sunrisers Hyderabad in Dubai next Monday.
Hi, my name is Rune Shamba, Mytoria's super striker. You're listening to ZiFM Sports.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudent. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
2 games in the English Premier League last night, but the centre of attention no doubt would have been on Chelsea's visit to the South Coast to play Brighton. And Frank Lampard says he's very happy with Kepa Arrizabalaga, but football pundit Gary Neville criticised his performance and says Chelsea will not win a league title with the Spaniard. Leandro Trossard's 54th minute equaliser from outside the area went under the outstretched hand of Kepa, once again raising questions over whether he should remain as Chelsea's number 1. Chelsea began the Premier League season with the 3-1 win at Brighton as Timo Werner and Kai Havertz made their league debuts. Now let's hear from Frank Lampard, who praised the determination of his side after their victory.
I thought we were okay. I really liked the work ethic and the discipline of the team. I think when you analyse the fact that we've been together pretty much as a team for 4 days after the international breaks, we had a lot of quarantines before that, new signings. Kai Havertz comes into us a week ago from another league, same as Timo, even though Timo has been with us for a while. I think to expect everything to click on day one is going to be very difficult. But what they did do is show a little bit of determination, I thought, today. I thought the 2 centre-backs were terrific in how they defended as well. That we maybe, a game that we might have dropped points in last year. And that's not the end of the story. I'm not getting excited with that on day one, but it had a little bit of determination and a bit of resilience about it, I thought. I'm very happy with Kepa. I thought Kepa today, I think with the shot, I'm not sure if he could have done any better, but I saw a bit more confidence in how he was playing. I'm happy with him. Kepa's here, he's our keeper, and I'm happy with him. If we are bringing in competition, it will be competition. That's the nature of Chelsea, so that goes throughout the squad, so we'll see.
Alois, 3-1 victory for Chelsea. It was important for them to get the campaign off to a winning start, especially as Frank Lampard is under a lot of scrutiny with the purchases that he has made.
Yeah, Mike, I thought Chelsea did well. You know, sometimes when the league is starting, you want to start with points. Never mind about playing good football. Sometimes you just want to scrape through, and they scored goals. They won the game. They've got the 3 points. They are still gelling. You know, Frank Lampard made those signings, and they still have to gel. He still need to make his team play together. So I believe that it's good. While you're collecting points and you're still gelling, it's very good. Keep the points in the bag while you're still molding your team. So he has done that. Scrape through the results, even if it means to, and get those points. He has done well. The issue is about some people saying that they can't win the league with players like blah blah. This is just the first game, guys. This is only the first game. They will come through. They've got good players. They signed one of the top players in Germany, Timo Werner. I think he's going to score goals for them. Kai Havertz as well, very good debut as well. I think they've got a very good team that can go all the way.
Barry Allo says they've got very good players, but the jury is out on their goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga. A lot of people asking the question, is he a good player?
He is. He's a good player. You don't become one of the highest rated keepers in the world before they signed him, and then become the most expensive keeper in the world after they signed him, just by being there. So I believe that all it needs is a bit of confidence in him. I don't think that he was at fault for the goal last night. I don't think he put his foot wrong in any of the instances or made any mistakes. So for me, still a good keeper, has always been.
Is this a media witch hunt, Barry? Because we have seen that when the British press, for example, get a hobby horse, they will ride it into the ground.
Yeah, and it's a hobby horse that is supposedly doing down one of the star children of English football, Frank Lampard. So Frank Lampard is getting a disservice from his keeper. No, he isn't. Okay, who said that goalkeepers shouldn't be scored? They're going to be goals scored. It's going to happen.
Chris, two debutants, two players that you like very much in Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. Were you satisfied with what you saw, and do you believe that they've got a lot more to offer at Chelsea? None of them able to get on the stats sheet last night. No goals, no assists.
No goals, no assists, but I think when you just take a look at that performance, I think in terms of they're gonna need a few more games, I think, in order for them to actually bed in and start to get those goals in like they're supposed to. So I think from yesterday's performance, I'm satisfied, but I just want to give them a little bit more time to settle in and then to kick on. If they don't, that's a different discussion. But I think there is a little bit of time that's needed for us to see the very best of them, those particular players.
Good win for Chelsea on the opening day. Decent performances from their new signings, Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Now, in the earlier kick-off for Sheffield United boss Chris Wilder, hit back and claims his side are set for a case of second season syndrome. The Blades, who finished ninth last season, kicked off the new campaign with a 2-0 defeat to Wolves. Speaking after the game, Wilder was asked if he feared his side would not be able to replicate their excellent 2019-2020 campaign, and something that he took umbrage to. He doesn't like that sort of questioning, Alois, but is that the reality that Sheffield United may find this season a lot tougher than last season?
Yeah, Mike, second season syndrome is there. We all know that it's there, so he should be aware of it. What he should be doing is fight against it, because he doesn't have to fight against it verbally. He needs to fight against it on the field of play. I'm not worried about the defeat to Wolves, because Wolves is such a good side. They can beat anyone in the league. It's okay in the first game, but he should know that second season syndrome exists, and they need to play football. They need to replicate what they did last season. They really need to do on the field.
Absolutely, and of course a statistic that will concern any Sheffield United supporters is they've lost each of their last 4 games across all competitions. Hence the questions being asked about Chris Wilder, the Blades, and this season.
Neymar, Mbappé, Dibaye, and now Tino Kadewere enjoys a taste of the French football on a ZiFM Sport.
Our weekly stop in France, and today we're talking Neymar. Now, he's accused referees of ignoring his reports of racist abuse in an impassioned defense following his sending off in Paris Saint-Germain's 1-0 defeat by Marseille on Sunday. The Brazilian was on a 5-player sent-off in a last-minute brawl at the Parc des Princes after striking Alvaro Gonzalez in the back of the head, having had several incidents with the Spanish defender previously in the game. And which we spoke about it yesterday, Chris, and in truth, Neymar, if the referee's report contains the fact that he did make a report to the referee and to the fourth official when he was walking off the field, then they have a case to answer. They should have taken action.
They should have taken action, and failure to do so is going to point to some very real issues in French football, because Neymar was heard on the pitchside microphones informing the fourth official that he'd heard racist comments while walking off the pitch. So his story holds up. He said what happened. He told two officials, he told them what happened, and there's evidence of one of them being informed of this. So if there are issues, there's going to be issues right across the French football system, because this then just points to something that has been going on, and there's going to be a very deep inquisition into what's going on in French football from this perspective.
The inquisition around racist abuse in that game. Now, Alois, I think it's important to know the history of this fixture, because apart from the racism, in truth, this has been a fixture that's been fractious over the years. And I think in the 90s, there used to be fights that would break out literally in the stands and on the field when these two teams met up. Now, apart from the racism, this would have been normal, but unfortunately, the racism throws a fly in the ointment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I said it yesterday as well, that, the rest of the drama was clouded by the racism chant. But to be honest, this has been a fierce fixture for a long time. Marcelo used to be the big gun as well. You remember when Abedi Pele was still playing in those days, and they used to be fights. George Weah was at PSG, and it's a historical affair. The rivalry is historical. So they will not just the brows on the field, even on the stand, the fans, they used to hit each other and all that. So it was part of this game, and they used to have heavy police presence whenever these two teams used to meet. So I'm not sure what then happens with the players. It's very unfortunate that the racist chants came in. We knew about the violence, about how fierce these battles are. Now this racist chant now is actually it's really bad, because when you look at the French league, it's one of the top leagues in Europe with the highest number of black players in their league. So it can actually create a very, very bad situation in the French league.
I think this one needs to be handled very quickly by the French Football Federation. And in truth, the way that they handle this one is going to determine how this moves forward. Thankfully, hopefully, we won't have long to wait.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wanted!
Some news out of La Liga. Barcelona forward Lionel Messi has topped the Forbes list for highest earning footballers in 2020. Forbes estimated Messi's yearly earnings at 126 million, with Juventus Cristiano Ronaldo second on 117 million. Neymar was third, with Paris Saint-Germain teammate Kylian Mbappe in fourth. Three Premier League players, Mohamed Salah, Paul Pogba and David De Gea, made the top 10, as did Real Madrid and Wales forward Gareth Bale. So interesting numbers we're seeing here, Barry. And even though the Premier League is the richest league, the players, from the looks of these numbers, are not necessarily paid as much. What do you think accounts for that difference?
I think what you've got is that if you look at that list, it's almost a who's who of the biggest footballing brands in the world. So consequently, wherever they're playing, these players are earning a lot of money in terms of endorsements and their brand profile. So I think it's less to do with the league. And admittedly, in England, we don't have big brands. There's no big football brand in England at the moment, and I think that's reflected in the earnings as well. So it's about the personal endorsements topping up on the wages that those players earn, in my view.
So, Mike, when you're looking at what Barry pointed out, these are some of the biggest footballing brands. We're looking at the marketability of these players, which obviously accounts for what some of these total earnings are. But if you take a look at just comparing what Mohamed Salah earns at Liverpool and what Lionel Messi is earning at Barcelona, there's a big discrepancy there. Are English clubs almost skimping out on what they're paying the players in comparison to what they're actually making from things like broadcast rights?
I think there are probably two things, Chris, that I would consider. First of all, when I take a look at the clubs, I think English football certainly rewards the clubs a lot more than it does in any other league. If you take a look at the fact that I think the team that finishes last in the Premier League in terms of TV rights earns well over 100 million. That's why it's so lucrative to be in the Premier League. And that almost matches the earnings in terms of TV rights of your Juventuses, of your Barcelonas, and of your Real Madrids. The second thing is that when you take a look at Messi and Ronaldo, there is such a big gap between them and the rest. Even if you throw in Neymar and Mbappe into the mix, it's mainly because we're taking a look at two of the greatest players to have ever played the game. So I think their achievements and their status have also been rewarded at a level that's unprecedented, that we haven't seen before, and that we are unlikely to see ever again.
Alois, we see a lot of potential buyers coming into the English Premier League and wanting to make purchases of these teams. Most recently, we saw a bit of movement, and we thought that there was going to be a new owner for Newcastle, and there was going to be some money being poured into Newcastle. Is there a rush to own these clubs because of just how lucrative it is?
Yeah, I think it's lucrative. Obviously, in English football is lucrative because of the TV rights, they earn the highest money, and obviously because it has got a wide audience around the world. A lot of people watch English football. You know, it's the mostly watched league in the world as well. So I think they want to get in there. Probably, I think for me, it's also business-wise as well. They market themselves. They get to be known. You know, there are a lot of other owners of the league of the league team that we never knew about. You know, who knew about Abramovich before he bought Chelsea? We didn't know about him. So sometimes it's also personal for these moguls to come into the English to, you know, to be known that I'm the owner of this team. It helps, and it also helps their businesses as well outside of football. So I think that's why there's a rush, because they know that all eyes are on the English Premiership. There might not be a lot of, they might have other players that are earning bigger money in the other leagues, but I still think that there is a widespread of big money in the English Premier Soccer League.
We'll probably see a growth in these numbers going forward, just considering the amount of money that's floating around in football. Some people think it's to the detriment of the game. The players, I'm sure, are reveling in all this money.
The Nerazzurri, the Black and Blues, Inter Milan.
It's Romelu Lukaku, and it was never in doubt. He's a beast at the best of times, but this season he has become a monster.
The Giallorossi, the Yellow and Reds, AS Roma.
Belotti has a go! Tremendous hits! That's what he's capable of.
La Viola, the Purple Ones, Fiorentina.
Brock Ribery seals a glorious win for Fiorentina with a sumptuous goal at San Siro.
The Bianconeri, the Black and Whites, Juventus.
Ronaldo seals yet another 3 points for Juventus.
Tough yet colourful, the best of Italian football on Z.
Let's wrap it up with a quick jump into Serie A, where Juventus have given up on their pursuit of Barcelona's Luis Suarez. The Uruguay international striker has been told by new Barca manager Ronald Koeman that he has no future at the Camp Nou. Suarez's availability piqued the interest of Serie A champions, but the Turin outfit have admitted defeat in their bid to land the 33-year-old. Speaking to reporters, Juve sporting director Fabio Paratici said that the former Ajax and Liverpool frontman is an impossible option. Now, this obviously puts paid to the movement of Luis Suarez. Mike, do you think he'll stay?
I don't know. It's all up in the air, Barry. Talk of going to Juventus. Now that talk is being quashed. We heard that Atletico Madrid were interested in his services. I think that would be a reasonable move. He stays in Spain. It's a Champions League team. It's a team with realistic prospects in all competitions that they play. And so in terms of just a family point of view, I think it'll be a lot easier rather than going to a new culture. Or does he even stay at Barcelona?
Yeah. Possibly he may even stay at Barcelona and notably might even do a job for the Blaugrana. We'll keep an eye on that one for you. Tomorrow's Wacky Wednesday, so don't miss the show. It will be on at 6:05. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
And it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
The biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.